piece of glacier. That's in short, it's a fragment of one of those icebergs here. It's 1,000 years old, and in a few minutes you will have it in your hands. But for now, it will wait for its turn. It's pretty cold. So guys, usually I start with welcoming Glacier Lagoon at the foot of the biggest glacier, but we don't see the glacier now, so it's going to be difficult. Maybe not difficult, but challenging. So just imagine an octopus, very big one, run over by a truck. So that big head and a lot of arms around it, it's our glacier. It's our Vatnajökull glacier. It's the biggest one in Iceland. And that big head, our main ice cap, is located deeper in Icelandic highlands. So even from here, during the perfect weather, we wouldn't be able to see it. Generally from here we always see two glacier tongues, which are our arms of the octopus, right? So if our Vatnajökull has 30 glacier outlets or glacier tongues, just imagine how big it is. It covers 8% of the entire country here. And actually this lake is getting all that ice from the biggest of all the 30 glacier outlets here, called, this is a very easy name, Breiðamerkurjökull. And it's located more or less over there, 9 kilometers away from the bridge. And when the tip of that glacier tongue breaks off, the iceberg slowly floats in towards the lagoon, and this is what we see here. So these all are pieces of what used to be a glacier, now icebergs. And these guys stay in the lagoon sometimes even for months. Of course, during that time they melt and break into smaller pieces, and when the ice is small enough to be pushed under the bridge, by the way, this lagoon is the only one that's connected with Atlantic, then the ice either melts in the ocean or ocean pushes it back to the shore called Diamond Beach. So if you've been there, you saw there are a lot of diamonds. Now you know 1,000 years old ice, pieces of glacier over there. So now you will be smart. Now, since you know how old is the ice, question for you: how old do you think the lake is? Give me a random number, otherwise it's going to be very awkward.
2,000 years old?
How many?
2,000?
Okay, so a little hint about that. If the ice is melting and this ice is 1,000, lake has to be a bit younger.
Oh, is it?
Right? So it's actually 90.
Oh.
90 years.
90 years ago, this lake was not here. Just imagine, it would be again so much easier if I could point out on our Breiðamerkurjökull right now and tell you that it used to touch the location where the bridge is right now. And so last 90 years, glacier retreated by 9 kilometers. That's the distance between the bridge and the glacier right now. I'm still hoping that maybe by the end of the tour the clouds will go away and you will see it. But if not, just come back in the summer. And so now you know how more or less the process of glacier melting looks like. And in this case, here ice melts a bit faster than in the other lagoons because, as I mentioned, we are having that salty water that comes here from the ocean, so that salt also affects the ice. And just to compare, there's another glacier lagoon called Jökulsárlón, 10 minutes drive away from here. And glacier retreats by 30 meters every day, that would be horrible, every year. But here, 150, so that's the difference caused by the salt. And yeah, so this is what's happening. And 90 years ago, a glacier that was touching the location of the bridge formed a little lake. After centuries of growing, it started to melt for the first time. So it started to melt, and it formed a little lake that grew bigger. And today, this lake is 27 square kilometers, and of course, it's still growing. And by the way, this is also the deepest lake in Iceland. Right here, the lake is about 70 meters deep. But the closer to the glacier outlet, the deeper it gets, and we could almost fit Eiffel Tower in the lake. So the deepest point is 286 meters, Eiffel Tower is 300, so let's say it's almost the same. Now, about the icebergs, hard not to notice that they come in different colors, shapes, and everything. So, any one of you have any idea about the black color?
Ash.
Volcanic ash, that's right. Somebody went on a glacier hike already. That's right. Okay, so that's volcanic ash. You know, this is a land of ice and fire, volcanoes, eruptions, right? So you more or less can picture how volcanic ash was settling on the glacier after every eruption, and then was covered with more glacial ice, and this is what we see here. And the blue color, you probably also know that, so glacier hiking guys, don't answer. It's optical illusion. There's no ingredient in the ice that it's connected with the color other than actually ice density. So the blue ice, it's so dense that it squeezed out all the air bubbles outside. and when the ice is so compressed, it doesn't let the blue wavelength to go through the ice. So you know, the light is full rainbow, right? So all the colors of the rainbow go through the ice, but not the blue one. It's reflecting back, and we see it. Of course, with time, ice starts to melt, and it turns slowly white because it's losing that density. So this is also how you can tell when you see, for example, iceberg. I'm looking for a good example here. Yeah, maybe this one right in front of you guys. You see there's an iceberg that's like half crystal blue, then there is a cut going across and more ice, but more white, right? So that white ice already was exposed to the sunlight for some time. It started to melt. The blue one was actually just recently under the water surface, but iceberg tilted. Something must have broken off and the iceberg tilted. So we see that cut. It's marking the spot where iceberg was touching the water surface recently, but it tilted. It revealed that ice that was still hidden in the water. In a few days, that part is also going to turn white. And what you see above the surface is just 10 to 20% of the entire size of the iceberg. So imagine there's a lot of ice underneath the water. You remember Titanic, so you know. Okay, usually in the summer I tell a lot about the birds, but the nesting season is over, so sorry, no more birds, almost. But we still have some seals. I spotted 2 already during our tour. I don't know if you saw it. If not, then after our tour is finished, just take a little walk closer to the bridge. You're gonna see a lot of seals. And there's a colony of 200 harbor seals that live here. And they live here for at least 2 reasons. First of all, a lot of food. They don't even have to share their fish with the birds right now. There's a lot of salmon and cod and herring and a lot of krill, so they love it here. But also, the water under the bridge in that channel that connects the lagoon with the ocean is very shallow. So it makes it really difficult for the killer whales to get into the lagoon, which makes the seals very happy. They are at the top of the food chain here. So, like I said, just observe the water surface around the bridge and you're gonna see black heads popping in and out. Remember, one seal can hold the breath for 28 minutes. So you can see it, but then maybe you can't. So just be patient. And coming back to the, oh yes, we also can see the glacier tongue a little bit in the distance, you see?
Oh yeah.
It's so far away. I wish you could see more, but at least this is the best I can do. I just push that button. It's a surprise. About the glacier retreating. The best way to understand how the glacier used to be closer is to, of course, watch some movies that were filmed here. So 20 years ago they were filming James Bond, Die Another Day. I don't know if you remember that movie, but there's a scene of Bond arriving to Crystal Palace that was built on the frozen lake. So it was here. And if you watch the scene, you're gonna notice that the glacier used to be a bit closer. I'm sorry, but that sound usually means that something broken off, like a lot of ice. And Bond arrives to Iceland, to the Crystal Palace, but the lake was frozen. And in order to film that scene, which is not that easy because this lake doesn't really freeze over the winter because of that salty water, they built a sand dam under the bridge to divide the lagoon of the ocean and stop that salty water from getting to the lagoon. And within 2 weeks, everything here was frozen. But of course, glacier used to be closer and lake was a bit smaller 20 years ago. You're gonna see it in the movie. One last movie, I mean, don't spend 2 hours of your life watching the entire movie, just Google the scene. It's Lara Croft Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie. For 2 hours, she's kicking monster and taking sexy showers. So I don't know if it's worth it, but one scene was filmed here. And it was pretending to be in Russia, Siberia. So we're gonna see Jökulsárlón and a lot of husky dogs on the shore and whole Siberian village with Siberian tribes, Angelina speaking Russian and all of that. And 3 of our boats were rented for the movie because she was supposed to get in a very dark place on a glacier with amphibian boat. I don't know, but whatever. It's not possible, but in general you're gonna see familiar shape of the boat. So go ahead and Google this. You're gonna need the name of the lake. So what's the name of the lake?
Jökulsárlón?
Jökulsárlón. Oh my God! Thank you for saving honor of the group. If you can't remember the name, just remember yogurt salmon, and it will just ring a bell. Okay, guys, this beautiful diamond is all yours now. So finally, you can take a photo with it and lick it. And I'm not judging.
I don't even want to touch it.
Careful,
I've already touched it.
okay, thank you for listening.
Let's do it.
Yeah,